on, guys? It is your girl Jaden and your resident expert Caleb here with Fantasy Tomorrow, and it is time to talk injuries. Okay, this has been a crazy year of injuries, especially now that COVID comes into play, and we really saw that in Week 12. So, Caleb, I guess we need to make a whole nother category for this, but who was out in Week 12 due to COVID?
Yeah, so this is just absolutely crazy. So let's start off with just the Baltimore Ravens, and that's going to take a huge chunk of it out of the way. So Lamar Jackson, Willie Snead, and Mark Andrews all tested positive for COVID. They will miss this week's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is now on Wednesday. We're filming this on Tuesday, just to be transparent, and that's why we don't really know for sure what's going on. So, but yeah, they're going to miss that game against the Steelers, so can't rely on them. We don't know what their status will be going forward, because we don't know if they're, 5-day, they can come back in 5 days, or they have to wait 10 days. It's a whole mess. So just, if you have any of those players, just be cautious, try to find replacements if you can. Now, also on the Ravens, Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins, well, they were put on the COVID list, but they were just close contacts. So they might actually be able to return and play this game against the Steelers on Wednesday. They'll be eligible to return. So definitely watch and see what happens with that. They should be okay, though, coming back, because they didn't actually test positive. They were just close contacts. Now, let's talk a second about the Denver Broncos. Now, they had a terrible situation this past week because one of their quarterbacks tested positive for COVID, and then all of the rest of the quarterbacks on the team, including Drew Lock, were deemed close contacts and were not able to play in Week 12. That led to Denver taking a wide receiver off of their practice squad who had played a little bit of quarterback in college and putting them in at quarterback, and it did not go well. Well, in Week 13, I do think that Drew Lock is going to be able to return. He's going to be, out of quarantine as long as he keeps testing negative, because he does not actually have COVID as of now. So definitely keep an eye on that. Yeah, but obviously, if similar situation happens and he misses Week 13, that's going to affect all of the Denver Broncos. Now, moving on to Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. He tested positive for COVID, so he was held out of Week 12. He might also miss Week 13. In his absence, both Nyheim Hines and Jordan Wilkins would see more snaps, so definitely keep an eye on that. James Conner for the Pittsburgh Steelers, same thing, tested positive. He's going to miss Week 12, and he could miss Week 13. So Benny Snell would be seeing his touches if he can't go. Adam Thielen, wide receiver for the Vikings. Now, he was put on the COVID list, but there's some reports that it could be a false positive. Don't really know for sure what the deal is with him. So keep an eye on him. If he's not able to go, Justin Jefferson is definitely going to see a lot more targets for the Vikings. And then finally, Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the 49ers. He has also been on the COVID list for a little bit, but he seems to be getting a little bit closer to return. If he's not going to return in Week 13, you should definitely expect Deebo Samuel to see plenty of touches that he might normally go to Ayuk, so definitely keep an eye on that situation as well.
I'm sure never in the Broncos' wildest dreams did they ever imagine they'd have to pull a wide receiver out to play quarterback. That is so crazy. Well, we also just saw some players that were inactive in Week 12 due to other injuries, so who might those players be?
Yeah, so first off, Todd Gurley, running back for the Falcons. He had a knee injury, so he missed practice all of last week, so definitely needs to start practicing this week to have a chance to go. Julio Jones for the Falcons as well had a hamstring injury, which he's been kind of nursing on and off all season. He needs to log more consistent practices, so keep an eye on him. Kenny Golladay for the Detroit Lions. Now, he's had a hip injury that's caused him to miss time, but keep in mind, he wasn't able to go last week, but the Lions played on Thursday, so they just probably didn't have enough time to really fully evaluate whether Golladay was actually healthy enough to go in Week 12, and this is going to give him extra time to rest up, and I think he has a better chance of actually being able to suit up and go in Week 13. His teammate, DeAndre Swift, has been dealing with a concussion. He needs to clear protocol, but again, he's had a little bit of extra time because of that Thursday game. Now, David Johnson, running back for the Houston Texans, has also been dealing with a concussion. He was actually placed on IR because of this concussion, so it must have been pretty bad. But he could be activated off of IR this week, so keep an eye on whether the Houston Texans decide to do that. Now, DJ Chark for the Jacksonville Jaguars has had a rib injury, which has caused him to miss practice. Mispracticed all of last week, missed Week 12. So definitely keep an eye on whether he's able to return to practice. Now, Myles Gaskins, running back for the Miami Dolphins, has an MCL sprain, which he's been nursing for a while, but he could return if the Dolphins decide to activate him off of IR this week, so keep an eye on that. And if Gaskin is not able to go, then you also need to keep your eye on Salvon Ahmed, who missed Week 12 with a shoulder injury and missed all of last week's practices. So he could go, maybe, if Gaskin is not able to go, but need to keep an eye on both of them. And then finally for the Dolphins, also Tua Tagovailoa. He's had a thumb injury, which is very concerning. It's on his throwing hand. Now, it's not broken, but it is swollen, which obviously would cause you to have some pain while trying to throw a football. So if he's not able to go, definitely Fitzpatrick would be going in his place. But who knows? The swelling might go down. He might be able to make it, so you never know. Devonta Freeman, running back for the Giants, could return off of IR this week. He's had an ankle injury, which he's been nursing for a while. And then finally, Zach Ertz, tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's had an ankle injury, which has kept him out for a while. But the coaches and the team seems to think that he could return this week. Don't really know for sure, though, but keep an eye on Zach Ertz.
And we did see some injuries happen in Week 12. So who got injured that we should be watching carefully?
Well, first off, Philip Lindsay, running back for the Denver Broncos, had a knee injury, which caused him to come out of that game. And I don't know. I think he may have been able to go back into the game if the Broncos wanted or needed him to. He was standing on the sidelines after he had gone back and gotten it checked out. Seemed like he may have been able to go back in, but just didn't. But definitely watch out to see how his practices go. If he's not able to go in Week 13, Royce Freeman would see more touches in his place. Now, Josh Jacobs, running back for the Raiders, had an ankle injury. We don't really know how severe it is, but Coach John Gruden seemed a little concerned during his post-game press conferences. If he's not able to go in Week 13, Devontae Booker would see a lot more touches. And then finally, Dalvin Cook, running back for the Minnesota Vikings. He had an ankle injury, but it's not serious, and the team has said that it should be fine. He should be okay for Week 13, so that's good news for Cook.
And finally, did we see any players get injured in Week 12 that could miss a significant amount of time?
Yeah, so Daniel Jones, quarterback for the New York Giants, had a hamstring injury, which the team is saying is pretty bad. So that makes you think he's definitely going to miss a little bit of time. In his absence, Colt McCoy will be the starting quarterback for the Giants, which is going to affect the entire offense. So I would downgrade Evan Ingram, Darius Slayton, all of your Giants players, because that offense is just not going to look the same with Colt McCoy. And then also, Will Fuller, this is not an injury, but it is going to take him out for the rest of the year, and it's because of a suspension. So he's going to miss the next 6 games, so that's actually going to carry over next season, sadly, because he violated the league's performance-enhancing drug rule. So stinks for Will Philip Fuller and for his owner, so we'll see him next year, I guess.
Well, that is never good. We hope that these players, we get to see them on the field again soon, and we hope that this helps your guys' lineups and you guys can kind of figure out what you need to figure out going into playoffs. With that, we are going to say see you later to Caleb, and I'm going to let you guys know that my name's Jaden. This is Fantasy Tomorrow, where we're giving you the information to learn today and win tomorrow. So like, comment, and subscribe so you guys can keep winning, okay? We'll see you guys next week. Bye.